Hey guys, this is Big Balla T here. T-Bow, Tony Toe like it is. T-Dog here. I wanted to talk about Andrew Luck and pretty much why I believe he's going to have a great year this year. And I think it all boils down to the fact that he's not hurt right now, and that I think he's perfectly healthy, and I think there's nothing to worry about with Andrew Luck, because simply I believe that Andrew Luck was perfectly healthy before last season. But I thought that Austin Luck and the league and Andrew Luck and the Colts purposely had Andrew Luck sit out for the sake of maximizing fan interest, which is going to help with maximizing profits in the NFL. And that is what I believe the NFL comes down to. But it is great entertainment. It provides a great avenue for clubs like this and small markets to be able to be competitive in the NFL. And this is what the salary cap is all about. I'm still going to follow the league, despite all of the protests against the national anthem. Did you see this? That this is a Beanie Wells jersey. This is a Weenie Wells jersey, because he always had boo-boos and he always had, sore hamstrings and all that. He was never a tough player. He always sat out games and all this. He was just very injury prone. What can I say about Beanie Wells? And that's why he really could not have a longer career with the Arizona Cardinals. So you understand that you always got to have a relationship with the NFL here. And that's why I'll always be a fan of the game. But at the end of the day, I know that it is a business and all, and that games are going to be rigged and certain players are going to win just for the sake of entertainment. And I just go back to the San Francisco 49er fans and seeing the fourth down play in the end zone and all, how there's no holding and all, but the game was scripted, for Ray Lewis last stand, to get that goal line stop in the Super Bowl. And it was Joe Flacco that was going out here and being like, Joe Montana in the Super Bowl that happened to be against the 49ers. So understand that the NFL is rigged, that the Patriots win the Super Bowl right after 9/11, all of this, and the Baltimore Ravens and all of this. I should talk all about that in a different video. But going back to what I was saying about Andrew Luck, I think it's going to be rigged for Andrew Luck to win the Super Bowl this season. And quite frankly, I believe the Indianapolis Colts are a great team, despite what the haters say. Because the Indianapolis Colts, without Andrew Luck, came into the fourth quarter with the lead 7 times. And that was with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. So understand what happens when Andrew Luck is back on the field. And the Indianapolis Colts organization drafted offensive line in the first round 2 of the last 3 seasons. They get that guy from Notre Dame, that interior protection. The Indianapolis Colts have been trying to emphasize the offensive line. They drafted the Alabama center 1 year, 2 in the first round within the last 3 seasons. And I think that is what is missing for the Indianapolis Colts offense before it becomes the best offense in the NFL, which is that protection. Because I believe no other quarterback out there displays the intelligence, the intangibles up there in this 2018 NFL season. The year 18, who do we think about? We think about Peyton Manning. 12 years later, the Indianapolis Colts with number 12, Andrew Luck, drafted in the year 12, win the Super Bowl. 12 years after 2007, the last financial crash happened after the Colts won the Super Bowl 2012. And then in a pig year, and then 12 years later, the Indianapolis Colts win again in a pig year. This is what it is all about for Andrew Luck in the Indianapolis Colts this season. It's going to be about the year of the comeback for Aaron Rodgers and Andrew Luck. It is comeback that equals 53 and gematria. Pass the torch, because this is Tom Brady's last year in the NFL. Number 12, another year about another big storyline dealing with the Number 12 about to enter his prime, and the number 12 that's about to call it quits. And understand that this is going to be happening during the tumultuous time in America after the midterms and all, and we see the effects kick in. That's what I think Andrew Luck's going to do, is lead the Indianapolis Colts Super Bowl victory with the help of his offensive line, a much better defense, and getting the winner, the offensive coordinator, Frank Reich, to be the guy to lead the Colts to victory instead of Chuck Pagano and his incompetencies. And, you know, I could do a video about pretenders in the NFL. It's going to be the Jaguars are going to be one of the pretenders in the NFL this season. I will talk about that in the next video. We find out just how hard it is to establish a culture and consistency when the Indianapolis Colts dominated the division early on in Andrew Luck's career. And as a leader, Andrew Luck is going to go out there and conduct the Colts business like that I've been in the playoffs here. This should be the bare minimum. We will cherish these accomplishments. We will be the team that has no pressure to play, since no one expects us really to do much this year because we think the Jaguars or the Titans go in the division. But I'll tell you, none of these teams are going to win because Andrew Luck is going to be a guy that wins and loses you games for your organization. He's going to be the same guy like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning as they were in their careers. So that's what Andrew Luck is. I really believe, you know, the league rested him and all for a year so he can be really healthy, so the Colts can have another terrible year and draft early in the first round for a great offensive lineman from Notre Dame. And that's really how the 49ers became good early on with Alex Smith or Jim Harbaugh, was they drafted those offensive line like Joe Staley, and then in the interior, Mike Iupati, now with the Arizona Cardinals, by the way. And they became great. So I think the Colts are just like that. Frank Reich is the coach that's needed for them to be the winner. Andrew Luck got beaten up so early on in his career. He got beaten up really badly because of his terrible offensive line. And I feel that he was starting to feel that physically. It just reminded me of the Monday Night Football game that knocked him out for the rest of the year. I mean, he really took a beating. I remember watching that game and seeing constant back and forth hits and seeing Andrew Luck on the ground. And really, the team drafted so terribly with Grigson at the helm. And that's just simply as that. And they really helped bring in the new leaders to help get them to revamp their personnel. And that's what their new general manager is doing right now. And that's what Frank Reich is here to do, is to utilize this Colts offense like he did with Nick Foles against Tom Brady. Frank Reich beat Tom Brady. That's what Andrew Luck needs, since they defeated him 45-7 in the AFC Championship game. The whole soap opera with the Deflategate and all this, the sixth grade ideal laws and all this. And we had the divisional game too one year where the Colts lose to the Patriots. So Andrew Luck will go 1 for 2 when he beats Tom Brady in the playoffs, I think, in the divisional round for next year. So yeah, that's what Pass the Torch is all about, and that's what Andrew Luck sitting a whole year out was for. So Andrew Luck can be completely healthy and ready to get the full use of his talent as he's about to enter his prime. And the Colts being bad really allowed them to draft really, really talented offensive linemen, and that's what the Indianapolis Colts are going to be doing this year. And it was Chuck Pagano that kept the Indianapolis Colts in games last year. It was 7 times last year that the Colts entered the game with a lead in the fourth quarter. 7 times. 7 times they entered with a lead in the fourth quarter, and that's really speaks volumes to the kind of defense that it took to be able to keep the Colts in these games and really allow the Colts defense to be better so they can pay attention to all these small details that get lost when you need them at the most, when you can't rely on a top 5 starting quarterback in the NFL. And with Jacoby Brissett last year, it really helped the Colts to get better despite the record, because they entered the fourth quarter with the lead 7 times. And Andrew Luck is a closer, and it's going to make a big difference this year for the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans were mediocre in all, and not utilizing Mariota, had really poor defense and talent all around, 9-7, and Jacksonville too with this offense and how consistent the defense can be. Not really the defense, but really speaks volume to Blake Bortles, and I believe that he didn't do much last year with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he could be the difference between winning and losing the division. So I'm going with Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts in the year of the comeback to win Super Bowl 53. That's what they expect with the healthy Andrew Luck, revamped offensive line, sitting out a whole year, getting his body and his health back to 100%. And this can really be the reason why things can turn out to be much fortunate this time around for Mr. Luck in the later part of his career here when he's at his best.